Cumulative Test, Units 6 to 9. Speaker 1.
I've lived in Napa County, California for most of my life. I've got a beautiful house with a lake view. I love this place, but I just can't face the anxiety of living here any longer, wondering when the next fire is coming my way. I feel like I'm living on borrowed time. Every year there are more wildfires around here, some of which destroy homes. It must be global warming that's giving us all these hot, dry summers. Last month, a big fire started a couple of miles away, and they couldn't get it under control. We thought we'd lose our homes. We didn't, but it was a wake-up call for me. So I'm going to sell up and move to Sacramento.
Speaker 2.
My parents were able to make a good living fishing the coast near Watamu. But now I've got family members who barely get by, and others who have gone to work in Mombasa. Luckily, I became a teacher. I wouldn't be able to survive as a fisherman if I had to. The fact is that higher water temperatures are destroying the coastal coral reefs. Many big fish are going out to cooler, deeper water, which is too far out for local fishermen to go in their small boats. Of course, trawlers big enough to catch them can do whatever they want in international waters. I find it unbelievable that foreign ships come halfway around the world to steal our fish, but they do.
Speaker 3.
I grow fruit on my farm in New South Wales, Australia. Walnuts, peaches and apples, most of which need fairly cool temperatures to grow well. But the average temperature is rising, with new records set every year only to be broken the next. Of course, we're doing whatever we can. I've spent a fortune on irrigation in the last few years, eating into my profits. I'm worried about how my son and daughter will be able to live here when they're older. Will they inherit a good business or a dried-up orchard? Sometimes I think we'd be better off getting out before it becomes too difficult to farm here. Then the kids could do something else with their lives.
Speaker 4.
I'm here in Vancouver now, but I grew up in Dhaka. We lived in a good part of town, but nowhere in the city really escapes when the Buriganga River bursts its banks. Scientists talk on TV about why the flooding in Dhaka is getting worse. You know, more ice melting in the Himalayas, more rain in the Bay of Bengal, tropical cyclones. But whatever people say, until you've waded through fast-moving, waist-deep water yourself, you don't really understand what it's all about. I was lucky to be offered a university place to study genetics here. I'm planning to stay in Canada because life in Dhaka is just getting harder. I don't feel good about being selfish like this, but what can I do?
Speaker 5.
10 years ago, I couldn't have imagined that I would lose my home, but I now know that sooner or later everybody here will. I mean, we already have the road cut off by the tide sometimes, and the water's too high to drive through. It's been announced that the federal government is going to resettle us, but we're Native Americans and this land is part of our heritage. All we want is to stay put, but we know that's not going to happen. What really annoys me is the people in government who are unable to admit that climate change is a reality, when part of Louisiana is going underwater. They really ought to come down here and see for themselves.